Hey, I'm back again. Yeah, just had some thoughts about now that the election is wrapped up. There's been very little done, very little changed. Just, we've all heard the expression of an expensive cabinet change for very few people. So, what do we get out of that? Well, what I've been hearing, and I think is just some thoughts, skimming the whole topic all over the place, the consideration for O'Toole to be replaced for the Conservative Party. Now, uh, is that necessary? Holding the same ground as before, he didn't lose. The Conservative Party didn't lose any seats. They didn't gain any either. He's been up to bat with the Conservative Party twice now, and has not yielded any results. So should he get a third crack at being the leader for the party again? I don't know. Um, there's a lot to say for either result, in the sense that did uh, staying the ground show anything? I think it does. He didn't lose any votes. He didn't cost the party any more seats. He is able to hold on to, in essence, if you look at it this way, these minority elections are the bare minimum that each party has without any favor. With no favor, this is how much this party can collect during an election. So you look at it in almost thirds. Easily, the Liberals and the Conservatives have a third of the Canadian votes each. So, and the rest is just cannibalized. But if O'Toole didn't lose any seats, that means the bare minimum that we're going to vote Conservative regardless still voted. So is that a positive point or a negative point? I couldn't say, but if it were up to me, I would chalk it up as not a failure, even though they didn't win. They still have an incredible seat count. So, what else can we talk about? The NDP picked up a seat. The other part I want to mention about picking up a seat is that in many ridings where they lost, they were just a few votes away from winning. There was a lot of the time a three-party race to the finish line: Liberal, Conservative, NDP. So, under more favorable conditions, could the NDP pick up even more seats? So, there's something else to be considered. They don't have a lot of seat count. They're in the same neighborhood as the Bloc Party, but under other circumstances, it could be a lot higher. And here's a for instance: if there was another election and the Conservatives won the majority of the seats but didn't have enough to form a majority government, but the NDP were the second biggest count, that would be the perfect circumstances for the NDP to win a federal election, because they can coalition with the Liberals, get shown the ropes, having them being an assistant party. That would work. That would be a good way to break the NDP into a countrywide party to see how they run it. Now, the Liberals won. They're going to need help, just like they were needing before. So, the biggest lesson to learn and the biggest loser in the election is us, the voters. We're not seeing any voting reform. We're probably not going to see it for another 4 years. He baited, if he got a majority government, that he would change it. I don't trust that. So if he doesn't have a majority government, he won't change it, because there's too much disagreement among the parties on how the vote should be counted. Well, of course there would be. Everyone's going to want to pick the voting style in which would favor their party. But we have been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that this voting system, it's not the worst. It's not the worst at all, but it's shown us where the power centers for every party are. That's what it's done. And without there's been a drastic divide and separation when it comes to the political spectrum when we're talking about society. That's a shame. I grew up with all walks of life, not even talking about politics. But once you start talking about politics, I've got friends that have voted for every party, and I wouldn't knock their choice. Their choice doesn't bother me, and I know that I'm not alone when I have this type of experience. So why is there a pullback in us versus them? Well, it involves money, in my opinion. A lot of these industries vote one way because that's where the money's coming from. And I get that. But when you have that, now you have a dependency, and you think they're your shield. But what if it's the other way around? What if you're the shield for them? What if your constant voting for them is the shield? Now I'm going to speculate. I'm a big business guy that does a huge contribution for employment for the region. And my business is a resource of some kind. And when there's a political party in office that makes my life hard, I make the life hard for all my employees. And when there's a conservative party, I lift some of the hassle. Notice how to improve things. I lift the hassle. Then the employees have a better response when there's a conservative party in office or a liberal party in office, depending on the industry. They have studies where they would ring a bell and then feed an animal, a rat, a dog. And they got trained to it. How is this any different? If they hold the keys of your way of life, then you're not in control. So you're going to have to be loyal to that control. That pays your mortgages, that pays your car payments, pays for your food, everything. But what if you just started voting for the issue and not the party that protects you? Because here's the other way around. If that support is pulled away, who has to do the negotiating now? Not you. Your negotiation was voting the other direction. That's the mark of your resolve. And you keep doing that until your industry starts behaving in a more, corporations want to be a human. Well, maybe they should have some compassion. Maybe they should have some consideration in respect of human suffrage. Because they don't do that. They're not held accountable because they have a shield. So without that shield, maybe they start getting that type of human that we like a type of human that you'd actually want to work for. But how are you going to get them to do that? Continually being the shield? Or making them feel abandoned? Now, when you look at the vote through, the popular vote statistics, and then you look at the results because of the ridings and seat count, these will be indicators on what type of voting is going to be influencing or favoring. Because right now, the big parties don't want a vote on favor. Because if it's a vote on favor, they're not going to get much of the vote. And there's more power to the voter on shifting this country around over a single night. Because it's all done on favor. It's all done on inspiration. It's all done on who's got the best platform and ideas and solutions to their questions. And that can, with a charismatic leader, that things in Canada could shift pretty quickly. But with the riding system that we have, it makes every single district a battle zone. Every voting district, every riding, and that can slow things down. And that could you can apply the type of pressure in appearance and attention to areas that you're not doing well in. So there would be, like, the first election would be a blind one, no matter how much research and money they're going to put into it, trying to figure out who's going to win. The first one's just going to be, in my mind, very unpredictable. But when you have representative voting, or there's a few others, but point being is that you just pick one. That's where I'm trying to get to here. If you just pick one, see how it works, move on to the other one if it's a disaster. But if it's salvageable, try it again. The way we vote, or the way in which we count them, that can be fluid until we find it. The fear of not wanting to do that, I find, is something that we should get over and do. We should just discover the one we like and keep trying until we find, as a nation, the system which, in counting the votes, that works the best, that has the least hiccups. So this is what this election has told me. We need the voting system to be looked at, addressed, another survey, another campaign of advertisement on all the styles to educate the country, do it on the news, put commercials on YouTube, whatever. So that is definitely one, but I don't think it's going to happen. It's not going to happen for 4 years unless someone puts the Prime Minister's feet to the fire. I think we're not seeing anything or hearing anything about voting until then. The other thing it told me is that the NDP are on the rise. So is the Bloc. And this tells me that the Liberals and the Conservatives do not represent the whole. They do not. They're leaving people behind. those people that are being left behind are jumping ship and going to a party that better represents the concerns that they have. So that means the country's fracturing even further. But that also tells me the liberals and the conservatives are losing touch. They're losing touch. They're too caught up in the upper echelons of our society in the Western Hemisphere, and the lights are too bright. They got too insulated. So this is why there's a surge in the Bloc, in the PPC, and the NDP. Also told me the Green needs to they need to figure themselves out. That's what this election told me about the Green. That there's dissent and a fractured unity that needs to be. They need to, I guess, probably do a new leader, or figure out what the problem is and move forward. But that's why they lost a seat. So there's that. And the party leader didn't even win the area that she campaigned in, but she also was tenacious and picked a very difficult place to throw herself into. A lot of people would go to an area where Green would dominate and they would just take over that area. She did not do that. Now, one could say that she didn't want to be party leader after how it began, and this was a easy way out. Pick a hard place that you're most likely not going to win. That's speculation, but it's still something I've heard. But yeah, so that it told me that about the Green. And with the Conservatives, I liked that they were reaching in a new direction, talking about topics that they usually get dragged into instead of being the ones that bring it up. I like it. I was impressed by that. Then I was hearing that he was coming across as too left. So that was a little confusing. So I guess they got to figure out internally whether he's like close, like a centrist conservative. Okay, I guess they got to figure that out, whether he's a centrist or if they want a far right. I'll just say this right now: if they get a far right person, you're not gonna see a surge in the votes because that's too extreme. You're gonna alienate the party if they go further left. But if being a centrist is bad, well, then I guess they need someone that's a moderate conservative instead of a extreme and not a centrist. So I guess they'll have to figure that out. And this is the wrap up. This is the swan song of Trudeau, his last turn up to bat. So is he going to work hard and wrap up all these loose ends that are still frayed out everywhere? I don't know. Seems to be focused on other things. I got criticism. I do. But I haven't, in my years of voting, I haven't had a leader that I didn't have a lot of criticism for. I've always had criticism, high levels of criticism for the people that run the country and the people that are the opposing parties. Not once have I just leaned back and smiled and went, "Oh, I'm content." No, I've disagreed with every winner and every loser. I've never felt fully represented. I've been embarrassed by stances for every party I've voted for. Every time there's been something about the party that embarrasses me on their stance on it because it lacks research, it lacks experience, All it is based on feelings. So, what's it going to be like with Trudeau in his last run? I hope productive. I hope vindicating. I hope like it's a redemption tour. But are we going to get that redemption tour from him to earn back trust? By his response to hecklers, I don't think so. The way he responds to hecklers, people that pay taxes, people that vote, that heckled him, his responses to that. It doesn't tell me that he's going to mend the wound. I think he's just going to look at the wound and be like, oh, I can't fix that. And shame on them. I'm speculating. But I'm speculating off of his, the way he conducts himself. That's the barometer in which I'm using. So yeah, I have criticism about him. Is there a potential that he could do some good things on the way out? Yes, of course. I'm not holding my breath. These are trying times. We've heard that for 2 years. Yeah, it's going to be 2 years soon that this has been going. With another year to go. Maybe 2. Yay. So, let's hope that an international multi-border conflict doesn't erupt. Or one of the 5 volcanoes to erupt. Or the whole ring of fire to shake. Here's hoping. No solar flare. Let's just have the dangers be human. I am hopeful for the future because I do feel that there is a shift in the country. I feel that the votes are reflecting that. I think that further mistakes and further missed opportunities and blunders are going to put more fuel on the fire for that change. I think Canada is now getting into a powder kegger type situation. I think the United States are further along in what I'm talking about. And I think it all stems from the disconnect from the powers that be, the people that run the nation. I have a friend that tells me the highest level government worker should make minimum wage. It incentivizes them to raise a minimum wage. Yeah, it's an idea. And not only that, if you did that, they would, wouldn't they be bonded to us through experience of going paycheck to paycheck? When they connect with us in a way in that regard? So when it comes to policies, their first thought is a thought that we would most likely have. Wouldn't that be nice? So there's something there to be said. But this is what I mean, though, is that Canada is getting into a tight pressure situation. And that's going to push the attention of the voter to go in different directions that they normally would not have. That's also a warning sign, though, because very, very influential and charismatic people take advantage of these situations. Just go through history. We're prime for a real charismatic person that is undeniable on either side, on all sides. We are so wide open for that right now. Because Trudeau is not as charismatic as he thinks he is with his the way he talks. And we will there's no charisma there. And when he's super calm, it's tight. Like when he's not breathing that way, it's really tight in his, in his speaking manner. So I'm like, O'Toole almost has it. When I say that, he almost has it. He's just too disconnected. If someone like O'Toole was more connected to the base of Canada, I think every other person would be in trouble that would be running against him. So this leads me to my criticisms towards Jagmeet. The guy doesn't answer a question unless you embarrass him by asking it again for the third time. This is why he's never going to be the leader of Canada. He chooses how he wants to answer a question by even going off point. That worked 20 years ago. It's not going to fly anymore, and it doesn't. Every time he's in front of the TV, he's talking with someone from any network, it doesn't matter which one. They ask him a question, he deflects, he goes in a different direction, he just speaks rhetoric, talking points that are so rehearsed and tired. And then they ask him again. Then he starts judging others instead. And then they ask him a third time. Then he admits the things that are being overlooked, and that it shows that he knows them too. It's annoying. It's really annoying. I know what the next leader of that's going to be highly charismatic is going to be like. They're going to be accountable. They're going to be authentic in the moment. They will be. They'll have the thoughts and feelings of most Canadians on the tip of their tongue when they start talking. It's going to speak to the hearts and minds of most Canadians. And we're going to see a majority government with this person. I just don't know what party it's going to be. I don't know what party is going to have that leader. Is it going to be the Conservatives? Is it going to be the Liberals? Is it going to be the Green Party out of nowhere? Boom, they get this person that just speaks to the mind of everyone with all confidence on how they're going to get it done. How they're going to reform, figure out where all the money goes, chop money out of areas that are just fat and not doing anything. Maybe that's what Canada wants. I don't know. But I feel that is the next majority government. Are we going to have the next election end up with a majority government? I don't know. Probably not. Well, our next election will probably have a conservative minority government unless there's a coalition against it. That's my prediction for the next election. The Conservatives will have a minority government. Not because I'm voting for it, not because I'm voting against it, it's just my prediction. That's my feeling of the pulse after looking at this election in hindsight. These are my thoughts because of the election. And if you watched it to this point, I want to thank you. Thank you very much. It's the rambling thoughts of me yet again. So yeah, if you've been paying attention, right on. If you haven't, I hope this helped or got you curious to do, because I didn't really mention much details or numbers because these were just rambling thoughts. So thank you again, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.